Hello, good morning. Just want to say good morning to you all here in front of us and those that are on Zoom. We're trying to wait maybe another 3 or 4 minutes to see if we can get a quorum because we won't be able to start the meeting without it. So if you all can just hold tight for maybe 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Good morning, and welcome to the December 18th, 2025 meeting for the Historic Zoning Commission meeting for the City of Knoxville. We'll now call the meeting to order. We'll have the roll call.
Good morning. For the record, the Knox County Historic Zoning Commission has no business this month and will not meet. So for the City of Knoxville, Commissioner Blackburn.
Here.
Commissioner Midas is excused. Commissioner Bradley is excused. Commissioner Kessler.
Here.
Commissioner Hearns.
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Here.
Commissioner Randazzo.
Here.
And Commissioners Tillman and Kloss are also excused. That's 5 present.
Thank you. We will now do the swearing in of the speakers. If you plan to speak on a matter, could you please stand at this time and raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you. Once you come and speak on a matter, please keep your presentations to 5 minutes, and we would like for you to say your name and address and write it at the podium once you come to the stand or podium. If there's any appeals to any matters that the commission makes today, you have 45 days to make it in 60 days to make it in Chancery Court. I'm getting mixed up with the EEOC. You'll have 60 days to make any appeals in Chancery Court. We will now do our approval of last month's meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. We will now go through our level 1 staff reports.
Right, so since the last meeting, we issued COAs for a new driveway at the rear of a property in Edgewood Park City, also a roof replacement project and some in-kind repairs to roof elements in Old North Knoxville. And then at the Westwood H Landmark, just some in-kind replacement and repairs of porch elements and screen doors.
Thank you. We'll now begin our level 2 reviews. The first one, we'll move into 4th and Gill. It's at 911 Eleanor Street, and we're going to be doing a vote to postpone this particular one until next month. All in favor for postponing? Oh, motion. Mhm.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to postpone. Seconded.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor of postponement?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move to our second property in 4th and Gill at 1110 Greats Street.
Okay, so this is the proposed demolition of a fire-damaged non-historic multifamily building. It was constructed in approximately 1980 and damaged by fire in September 2025. The guidelines say that demolition can be considered if it doesn't contribute to the historical or architectural character of the district. This one does not belong to the period of significance and doesn't contribute. And it is also substantially deteriorated, so staff's recommending approval of 12H 25HC as submitted.
Thank you. Is there an applicant here who would like to speak or on Zoom?
What's their name?
It's
John Hogue, he's on Zoom.
Mr. Hogue, would you like to speak? Okay, do we have any comments from the neighborhood rep?
They are,
Oh, I didn't realize how to get this is John Hoyt. Can you hear me now?
Yes, if you can just say your name and address, and if you had any comments on what was presented.
My only comments are that I'm the owner of that property and I agree that it needs to be demolished. I'd like to get that accomplished in a safe and reasonable way based on what the permitting requires as soon as possible. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any comments from the neighborhood?
They are in agreement with the staff recommendation.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
I'll second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We will now move to the Mechanicsville neighborhood. Our first property is at 218 Chancellor Avenue.
This case was postponed at the November meeting to revise the type to a demolition case and to allow the applicant to apply for a new construction case. They're requesting to demolish the existing building due to termite and water damage, and their intention was to build a new structure replicating the existing design and footprint. The associated new construction case, 12B25HC, is postponed to the January meeting because it will not be possible to rebuild the current structure due to building code requirements which do not permit windows on side elevations with a less than 3-foot side setback. The plans submitted for this case reflect the current structure and are provided here for reference. Prior to recent work, the house demonstrated extensive deferred maintenance and non-historic modifications, and after the fact COA was issued for exterior rehabilitation scopes in April 2024, which required that the recently installed vinyl windows be removed and replaced with wood windows, the property changed ownership and the house sat vacant for months without siding, further deteriorating. A rear addition and further exterior rehabilitation scopes were approved in March 2025. According to the project's contractor, the damaged structure is currently a safety hazard that puts workers at risk, and pictures documenting water and termite damage were provided. The guidelines state that, quote, demolition of any original feature or part of a historic building should be avoided, and that, quote, demolition of any building which contributes to the historic or architectural significance of the old Mechanicsville neighborhood should not occur unless public health and safety require the removal of the building or structure. In the opinion of staff, the documentation demonstrates that the structure is a safety hazard and demolition can be appropriate. Any salvageable historic materials, particularly the timbers that frame the roof, should be identified and retained prior to demolition as possible. With that, staff is recommending approval of Certificate 11H25HC, subject to the condition that any salvageable historic materials to be identified and retained prior to demolition with documentation provided to staff.
Thank you, Melinda. Is the applicant here? Would you like to speak?
There's not a paper here for me to sign. Okay. Allie Chamberlain, 1501 Granger Avenue.
Thank you. Did you have any comments on what Melinda presented?
No, I'm working with the homeowner now to figure out the new construction portion of things, but as far as the demolition goes, I think it's clear.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the neighborhood?
Yeah, hi, this is Carlin Herod, 1312 Dora Street for the Old Mechanicsville neighborhood representative. And as far as demolition, everyone is very supportive of it. This house looks like a strong wind could potentially blow it over. And it's there's really nothing left to it, unfortunately. The way that the current owner inherited the house, there was truly like nothing left to it to save, unfortunately. Many neighbors did, or a couple neighbors, 3 of them did state that, can't be changed, but the way the past owners inherited the house, they wouldn't have been for demolition, they would have been for saving it as it was a contributing structure, but there was a lot of unauthorized, removal of items from the house. And at this point, there's nothing really to save, unfortunately. So we just wanted to say we weren't super supportive of demolishing contributing structures, but this is a super unique case. The only concern that was brought up was from one, actually the direct neighbor. He was curious about the setback and was hoping that with the new construction that it could follow code and be 5 feet away from his home, but it sounds like maybe that is a down the line discussion. If this is just about demolition, the neighborhood is very supportive.
Okay, thank you so much, Carly.
Yep.
Commissioners, do you have any questions or would you like to make a motion?
I think it's obvious from the photos, there's not a lot to salvage there, but is there anything you think that you can salvage?
The logs that were used to frame the roof, I think can be saved and made into some kind of honorary piece or handrails or, something not structural. But other than that, most everything else in there is newer and not doing well. But we could also save some of the bricks from the chimney, like little things like that we could use and repurpose in different ways, but that's pretty much it.
Would we like to entertain a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much. We had one on is that 2-8? Is that the same one?
the new structure.
Oh, the new structure. Okay, so that's been postponed and removed, so we won't take a vote on that. We'll just move on to the next house. Oh, you're done.
Oh, this
You're
was
done the next one
also-
too?
Yeah.
Okay, but you can wait until we.
Okay.
Okay. The next house would be at 209 Dedrick Avenue, and Melinda will read through that one for us.
Okay. Oh, that,
It was requested postponement prior to the agenda publication, so we marked it as a postponement on the agenda.
okay. 209 Dedrick Avenue is 12E 25HC. So this is a broad exterior rehabilitation project. So with the siding and trim, the applicant will be replacing the wood lap siding on all elevations, including the wood window trim. That will be in kind. Removing the non-historic ceiling on the rear porch and removing the non-historic wood posts, and then installing new materials within the design guidelines and repairing the existing wood porch elements. They will repair the existing wood multi-light doors that are on the right side of the facade, and then remove and replace a non-historic front door, and then remove a non-historic door on the second story of the rear elevation. And then the windows, the applicant is proposing to remove all windows. Those include 1/1 double hung wood, 2/2 double hung wood, some 3/1s, and then some non-historic vinyl replacement windows. They will have proposed to install 1/1 double hung wood windows in the existing openings, with the overall sizes and locations remaining the same. So repair and replacement to the wood lap siding, including the exterior window trim, is appropriate within the guidelines. The trim details will be retained as needed, and all those detailed elements should be repaired or reconstructed in kind. The front door is a non-historic interior replacement door, so removal is appropriate. The final door selection for the front and rear doors should be sent to staff for approval. And then the windows, the applicant proposes to replace all of them with a 1/1 double hung specification. This includes the 2/2 double hung wood windows on the facade, some 3/1s, and then the non-historic windows. So the guidelines note that replacement windows must be the same overall size with the same divisions and shall be true divided lights. So based on those guidelines, replicating the 2/2 windows is preferable. Where replacement windows have been installed on secondary elevations, 1/1 windows may be appropriate. So staff's recommending approval of 12E 25HC, subject to the conditions that the door and siding selections be submitted to staff for approval, and the final replacement windows to replicate the 2/2 pane division with 1/1 double hung windows to be allowed on the rear elevation where non-historic windows have been installed.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. Would the applicant like to come back up and speak?
I think the recommendations are appropriate and we're good to do all that.
Thank you.
Oh, Allie Chamberlain, 1501 Granger Avenue.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chamberlain. Would the neighborhood like to comment?
The neighborhood is in support of this application with the staff recommendations.
Thank you. Commissioners, did you have any questions? If not, was,
I'd like to make a motion
okay, thank you.
to approve based on staff recommendations.
We have okay, thank you. We have a motion that has been properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will now move to our third neighborhood in Old North Knox. The first property that was listed was 225 East Oklahoma. That one has been postponed, and it's listed as a no vote for this particular meeting. So we will move to our second property in Old North Knox, and that property would be at 234 East Oklahoma. And would you all please? Give us some
Right.
details.
This case is for a new 8-foot wide by 10-foot deep shed at the rear of the lot. It features an exterior of T111 siding and a low-pitch shed roof with asphalt shingles. The front elevation features a sliding glass door and an angled fixed vinyl window, and the side and rear elevations feature additional vinyl windows. The placement of the shed is appropriate, and it will not be visible at all from the right-of-way. Old North Knoxville's outbuilding design guidelines are pretty prescriptive about the materials and design features that should be used, and the proposed shed does not incorporate these recommended elements. Some contemporary materials and forms have been approved for secondary structures in Old North Knoxville when they are not visible from the right-of-way and are a component of a larger project that addresses the design guidelines in other ways. In the opinion of staff, the case should be postponed to allow the applicant to submit a design that better incorporates the recommended design characteristics. The proposed T111 siding is not appropriate. The applicant later clarified that LP Smart siding was proposed instead, which has been approved on outbuildings within the overlay. Vinyl windows have not been approved within the overlay. The windows should be revised to wood, aluminum clad wood, or fiberglass, which have been approved on outbuildings. So staff is recommending postponement of Certificate 12G25HC to allow the applicant to submit a design that better addresses the design guidelines.
Thank you so much, Melinda. Is the applicant present?
Should be on Zoom.
Yes, I'm here. Hello, good morning. Katie Goslin, 234 East Oklahoma. I want to make a couple of clarifications, just because I'm very new to this process, and the contractor also has not worked on this process as well. I'm the homeowner, obviously. So it's, yeah, as I think that must have been Melinda said, I'm not really sure why he put T111 siding on there. It's actually, as it says, smart siding. So it's LP smart siding. It's not T111. That's a note that's incorrect. And I am willing, the small transom windows those are not vinyl. Those are just transom windows. There's one window that's indicated here as vinyl, and I'm happy to put in a wood window instead. And other than that, this is a very small structure. I have a privacy fence along the back, so as Melinda said, this would not be visible from almost any side except my immediate neighbor's yard. And there are other non-gable roof structures just in the same vicinity. And so I would humbly request that this is not postponed, but approved. And happy, of course, to answer any other questions that you have.
So I'm just trying to make sure, they have requested postponement, and it sounds like you're saying that for the things that they are questioning with the guidelines, that is something that you could correct or are not in agreement with or in agreement with. And so I guess I need to better understand, based on what the staff concerns is, why you think it shouldn't be postponed. Have you reconciled the questions and concerns that they have?
I guess I don't know if I've reconciled that. I've been in conversation with Melinda over email. And just to reiterate that it sounds like there are a number of issues. One is that the roof is not a gable roof. My request is that the form of the structure be approved, as there are other similar structures in the neighborhood, and my preference is to keep it keep the structure as a lean-to instead of revising the design in that way. The proposed, as it says here, proposed T111, whatever that's called, siding would not be that type of siding. It would be LP Smart siding. So that, I guess, has been reconciled. And number 5, the vinyl windows, those, I can make the window, I would use a wood window instead.
Another big feature.
Do you want to see if the neighborhood had any comments before we start asking them questions?
Okay, I was just going to make sure she saw the note about.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to make sure you saw the note about the door. Generally sliding.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't. Because it's such a small structure, and it would be a door with a window, I would strongly prefer to have a sliding glass door, because otherwise a swinging door would take up space. within the structure. But if the commission won't approve that, I would be very disappointed, but I would go with a regular door. It just won't be as functional. Because it would be an inward swinging door.
Okay. So just to be clear, you would like for it not to be postponed. However, even though
That's my request
but
request.
so we see what the staff concerns are, and they pointed out, it looks like 4 to 5 different items, 2 of which you agree to make changes to, but the others you do not. But you would like for the commission to approve anyway, although the staff would like for you to go by the guidelines. Am I summarizing this correctly?
I suppose so. It seems like there are 3 items. And 2 of those I'm willing to address, and one of them I'm requesting because there, as it says in the note, because there are other structures in the neighborhood that have, I don't know what it's properly called, but a lean-to design. I'm requesting that the commission allow that.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Do we have Carly? Is it Carly? Sean. Is Sean Bowling on the line, and does he have any comments?
He's not online.
I believe that they're supportive of the staff recommendation for postponement,
Okay,
but they're not here today.
okay. Commissioners,
The door that Commissioner Randazzo was talking about, is that on a different page? I don't see that in the staff report.
It's mentioned at the bottom of the staff report here, just wanting y'all to discuss whether these more modern style forms are appropriate.
But that only said something about the windows. I don't see anything where it says about the
can you
door.
point out exactly where it is, Melinda?
Glass entry.
The last sentence says the commission should discuss whether the window forms and sliding glass entry are appropriate.
Okay, number 5 above.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're talking about the sliding glass entry. Thank you. So it sounds like, Madam Chair, that it's only the shape of the roof is the issue then, correct?
And the doors.
And the door, okay. I do have a question, not about that, but not that I'm anti-asymmetry, but why is that building skewed from the
In this.
from the
siding,
house?
the way
Yeah,
it's sided.
why is it turned that way?
It's turned that way for light and just direction of the door really.
Okay,
And
so
what it looks onto.
okay,
Are there guidelines about that?
no,
Okay.
just curiosity.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that the style of a building is more than just a roof shape. And I think that the comments from the staff are related to the building as a whole and not just the shape of the roof. I can understand why you could see other buildings and think the shape of the roof, but the shape of the roof, the texture of the siding, the verticality of it, all of those things are very different than other things found in the neighborhood. And I think that's where the concern comes from. Is that correct?
Yes, that is
Okay.
partially correct. The design guidelines for Old North Knoxville have a list of materials and design characteristics, and it says may only use materials and design characteristics from this list. And the design does not currently incorporate any of those materials. And while we have approved, similar ones that have a more modern style that don't if y'all remember a few months ago, we had that accessory dwelling unit and that carport. The accessory dwelling unit, was a historic structure, but it was abiding with the guidelines, and so that more modern carport was appropriate because the guidelines were addressed in other ways.
I want to ask the applicant.
If I may.
Can I ask you a question first? Did you all look at the guidelines before you designed this shed?
No, like I said, I'm very new to this process.
Okay.
And honestly, because it's such a small structure, because it's in my backyard, because it's not visible externally from any side, I was a little surprised to find that this entire process needed to be followed. But I'm a little confused also about what guidelines you're talking about, because as I understood from the case file, I guess, the other guidelines mentioned were the siding and the windows. And I've stated that the siding was incorrectly described here, and the windows I'm perfectly amenable to changing to wood windows.
I'll just say typically when we have many, many conditions on a design, we prefer that it comes back to the commission so that we can see what the structure is truly going to look like when it's constructed. Going item by item by item and picking out or reaching an agreement on those and having a ton of conditions can create confusion. And it is harder for us to enforce is what is actually being proposed versus what is constructed. So that's, I think, where some of the concern is coming currently. There's a lot of conditions. Even though you say you could address things and you're asking not to be postponed, I think the concern from the commission is, can we postpone it and have a better design that meets the standards and the guidelines for the neighborhood in a clean document?
Okay, I can understand that. I guess I will just say that I wasn't aware that this was being recommended to be postponed until the agenda was sent to the entire commission.
Katie, I wanted to commend you for taking the process on. I understand it's a lot to fully interpret the guidelines, where there is a page specifically on accessory structures in the Old North guidelines. And where we struggle is if we legally aren't supposed to approve anything that doesn't follow the guidelines. And there's times where changes can be made with neighborhood recommendation or good reasoning. But beyond that, we're kind of bound by those guidelines. So in the material list, I know that smart lap siding has been approved before in the neighborhood, but even that is a variation that does not fit the guidelines. And I think it's a really thoughtful design. I understand that you're trying to get a lot of light in the building, but we are bound by what the guidelines recommend.
Okay, I would welcome advice on what to do next. I will also say that it's very difficult for a homeowner who is taking on this project by myself to find and figure out the guidelines, and I worked to have conversations with staff at the city I spent a couple months trying to find the guidelines and understand them online and didn't have luck, and was hoping that through the conversations I had in advance of coming up with this plan that I had the information I needed, and it seems I didn't. So I would very much welcome advice on what to do next. I have correspondence that suggests that smart siding, it doesn't suggest, it says that smart siding, I think it's in the notes, so we're up on the screen on the minute, that smart siding is one of the approved types of siding. So this process is incredibly confusing to me, not a contractor, having done this before, and not working with a contractor who's done this before.
Well, we definitely appreciate your willingness, and I think this proposed postponement is something that would allow you to actually do some of the things that you just expressed. Just give you time to talk to staff and kind of get a better understanding of the guidelines and the requirements. So if you don't have any other...
With respect, I've been trying to do that. So again, I would welcome additional advice during that postponement so that I can better understand how that time will give me the information I need.
The best resource, because I understand the commission and maybe even staff, it's kind of speaking a different lingo and language that doesn't make sense to everyone, but your neighbors and your neighborhood are probably going to be your best resources. If you're able to attend the monthly neighborhood meeting and connect with other people who have been through the process. There are several contractors that are familiar with the guidelines in Old North that could be a resource. I understand that it's more expensive to use different contractors, but that could be the best way you could get more information.
And I also want to add that your neighborhood rep also was a previous commissioner here, so he is a very valuable resource for you to ask any questions. Thank you for your time. We're going to move on to the commissioners, see if they have any other questions, or would someone like to entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to postpone for 30 days based on staff recommendation, and to allow the applicant to submit a design that better addresses the design guidelines.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Seconded.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next neighborhood, which is in Fort Sanders. The first property is 1618 Clinch Avenue.
Okay, this request is for a demolition of a contributing structure within the Fort Sanders Regional or National Register Historic District and local overlay. In May of 2025, the HCC approved the exterior rehabilitation of this structure of this house. The the owner commenced the necessary demolitions, and during that process realized that there were structural deficiencies and stopped work. That's when they got in touch with staff to discuss the next steps. The guidelines for Fort Sanders note that the HCC may approve demolitions if they find that the structural problems are associated costs to address the problems warrant demolition. The applicant provided photos, documentation of the house's existing condition, and a letter from the structural engineer outlining the deficiencies. The primary structural problems that, in the opinion of the engineer, make the renovation financially unfeasible are inadequate floor joists and load-bearing walls, a significantly deteriorated two-wide brick foundation. In the opinion of staff, the condition of the brick foundation constitutes a significant structural issue where demolition is warranted or may be appropriate according to the guidelines. Any salvageable materials shall be identified and retained prior to the demolition, as possible. The applicant is proposing a new structure, which we'll hear about next. And staff is recommending approval of demolition based on the applicant's structural engineer's assessment, subject to one condition: any salvageable historic materials be identified and retained prior to demolition with documentation provided to staff.
Thank you so much, Mike. Is the applicant present, and would you like to comment on this matter? I think the demolition is not necessarily the question, but the salvageable material. Do you want to make any comments about that request?
Brian Dennison, 110 West Summit Hill. We will do our best to salvage whatever we can. The brick is deteriorated and spalling, and maybe there's some decorative ways we can find a way to incorporate it, and the siding as well. Well, not the siding, the trim. Any trim that we can reuse, we will do our best to do that.
Okay. Was there any comments from the neighborhood? Okay, no comments. Commissioners, do you have any questions? If not, does anyone want to make a motion?
I'd like a little bit more context on the history. You all purchased it, it was purchased last May. It appears to be in really good condition prior to that. Is there something that seems to have sped things up, or just more history?
Certainly. Hey, Joshua Henson, 558 Mellon Avenue. So we bought these three houses. There's two more that we just finished last year. This is the third, and we've remodeled both those other houses to the left of this structure. And this house looked very good, just like the other two houses that we remodeled. And then we get in there, and we did the interior demo, and there was another builder who built this, and it was just horrible, the state of this house. I mean, this would be the 8th house I believe we've done in this neighborhood, 10th house we've done in this neighborhood, and this is by far the worst. I don't like tearing these houses down. I love, on one of the other houses on 1800 Clinch, we had the original writing of the architect and design and the owner, and I mean, I love that kind of stuff. It's just so far gone that we've demoed it. We were ready to start the rehab, and we get in there with our engineer Maurice, and somebody could either get hurt redoing this house, or somebody could get hurt in the future, and that's just scares me to death to think about.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments. I think it's even just important when we talk about demolishing something that there's some kind of record and conversation that happens, because this shouldn't just be an easy thing to do.
No, I totally agree.
But I believe that there's good faith in the work that you all have done prior to this, and that adds confidence.
Thank you.
Okay, who would like to make a motion?
I just want to make a comment in general. We've seen a lot of demolitions for a single meeting today. Like a lot more than we normally see. And a lot of them are happening like as a result of transactions and things that happen, and sometimes the person who's recommending demolition is not the one who got it to the state that it was. Just a general comment, not specific to this case. That is a little bit concerning to me. We've seen a lot of work done by contractors who are taking risks in the demolition process or interior demolition process that is resulting in the ultimate demolition of the building. So
If I could just say we bought this house. We've already remodeled 2 of these houses. These are the third, and we've owned this house for well over a year. We had every intention to remodel it. This is nothing to do with financial. This has nothing to do with anything other than this house is just not safe. And I totally agree. I was sitting back here watching these other 2 demolition.
there's just a lot.
It is, and I totally understand. But I hope this precedent, what we're asking is not something that should be taken lightly. We understand that this house is old and has been there for a very long time, but at the same time, it's just too far gone. And we tried everything we could. We've had 3 meetings about it to say, what can we do to save this? And we've just found that there's life safety risks either in the rehab or in the future, and that's just something we can't get past. Thank you.
Understandable. That's more a general comment. I just don't like the trend we're going in. That's all I'm saying.
I had a question. So the other 2 houses, they had the same builder, but this particular house had a different builder?
That's what that's what we have found.
Okay.
Everything about it, the style and everything about it is different.
Mm-hmm.
The bricks widths, the footers, or the lack of footers in this case, the design, the trusses, even the floor trusses are different sizes than the other 2 houses.
Okay. Okay, commissioners?
I've worked with Maurice Malia a long time, and I think I trust him in his evaluation. I think Commissioner Randazzo used the term good faith, and I think that's what we have here. And Mr. Henson's been before us before, not always pleasantly, and I think he learns how we roll. So I think he'll do the right thing. So I'd make a motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second, even though I don't like demolition in general.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you guys so much. Okay, we're gonna move to our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. That was the next one? Oh, yes. Okay, it is. Okay. Yeah, we're going back to the same house to look at a new primary structure application for this home.
Yes. Okay, so what we'll be reviewing is essentially a rebuild of the house as is, particularly from the front. There are some minor modifications to the structure. Some of the modifications were approved as part of the rehab, so it's not necessarily a change from what was already approved, but it might be different from what you see in the existing condition images or prior condition images. So first, I'll start with the siding of the house. The house has to shift a little bit to the east. It's currently sitting on the property line or just barely over the property line on the west side. They will be moving the house 5 feet away from the property line. That way they can rebuild, because this will be a new build. They have to meet current building code. And if it was rehab, they could have kept window openings and those types of things. But now it's a new build, they can't unless they move the house over. It should still sit appropriately on the site. So we know the property is zoned office. It does allow residential uses, but it has a much greater side setback requirement than a standard residential zone. The required setback is 15 feet. Obviously, they can't do that on this thin lot. They are requesting a 5-foot setback on the west side of the house. The Historic Zoning Commission has the authority to approve that setback rather than the owner having to get a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals, as long as it's consistent, as long as that setback is consistent with the neighborhood and the design guidelines, which staff believes it does. And we are recommending approval of that side setback. So the front elevation and the side elevations will match those as the renovation plans, as I mentioned before. Those plans were approved May 2025. With the following exceptions to the side elevation. The rear is not visible from the street, and only minor changes are being made to that. So I'll note the changes to the sides here first. To the right side or west side of the house, a pair of 1/1 windows in the middle of the second story was changed to a pair of fixed windows. And then on the left east side of the house, 2 9/1 windows towards the rear of the house were changed to 1/1 windows, and a new 1/1 window was added near the front of the house. As a reconstruction of the historic structure that follows previously approved elevations, this proposed design is appropriate. As I mentioned prior, the property is zoned office and has side setbacks. One other element that they're going to recreate is on the east side is a chimney. That chimney does extend into the side yard as well. So on the east side of the house, I guess technically we are approving a reduced setback on the east side of the house too. The setback to the house itself is 8 foot 9 inches. The brick chimney or the chimney will extend into that setback 6 inches or 6.5 inches, which is allowed by zoning anyway as an encroachment into a side yard. Off-street parking is required for residential uses. They don't show parking on this plan for this site, but in residential uses do require parking to be on site. They have ample space behind the house for 2 required parking spaces. They do share a driveway and with the neighboring house, and they kind of do a shared parking arrangement as well, but they may need to put 2 parking spaces behind this house, which they should be able to accommodate with and meet the guidelines. The staff recommendation is to approve Certificate 12I-25HC, including the side setbacks as shown on the site plan, subject to the following conditions. Final site plan to meet city engineering standards with minor revisions to be approved by staff. The retaining wall be made from poured concrete to match the existing retaining wall, meeting all applicable standards of the zoning code and building codes with minor revisions to be approved by staff. Planting a shade tree in the front yard. All siding to be shake style as depicted on the exterior elevations, and retaining details as depicted, including stucco foundation, window trims, door trim, roof trim, partial cornice returns, porch columns and architrave, brick chimney, and shake siding.
Thank you, Mike. Do you have any comments?
We appreciate staff's recommendation.
Okay. And no comments from the neighborhood? Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Is that chimney height correct? Should it, when you see it from the side, should it not be above the roof line? Or does that meet code? And then the other, while he's looking for that, the other comment was that, Mike, that you are requiring shake siding for the columns as well?
And maybe the owner architect can elaborate, but I believe that's what is on the house today. Mm-hmm. And so they're just recreating that.
Okay.
The chimney is the way it's designed right now, so it's non-conforming. But if it needs to meet the, 3 foot above the eave and 2 and 10, we can certainly meet new.
Yeah, that was just my concern, that possible embers or something could come out of there and land on the roof easily.
Make sure this chimney does not
Yeah.
get used.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I'm totally,
it's just decorative?
Yes.
Oh,
correct.
okay, well.
To match
it-
existing.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's, never mind. Did we hear from Randall?
One question is are you requesting to have parking at the rear of the property?
And I don't know,
We have a shared agreement with the adjacent properties that
I don't know,
meets.
maybe Mark can chime in if, but to my knowledge, residential parking has to be on the lot that it's on, like, where the structure is, and shared parking arrangements don't apply to those, but, I'm kind of leaving that open to zoning, like, if you need to put the two spaces back there, you have ample space to do it, you can meet the guidelines, no problem. If you don't have to, then you're fine.
Okay.
And the condition in your recommendation should cover that as well, like the one about meeting zoning requirements.
That would be-
So we should be covered either way.
Correct.
Were there brick details submitted? Sorry, it's a big packet for the chimney. It only said, from what I could see, that the brick chimney is to match the existing, but the existing is stuccoed. But I want to just make sure that the intention is to keep it brick.
whatever you guys want to see. I think that, personally, I think it would look better as just brick. I think in this entire neighborhood, stucco was done after these houses were built. So I would personally love to see it just bricked and then,
Yeah, typically, I believe the brick is, the specifications are sent in to staff. Is that correct?
I mean, you can make that condition, that's fine. We can
But is
verify
it-
that.
Is it always a condition? No. Okay. I'm okay. Thank you.
Is it face brick or full brick?
it'll be full brick.
Is that going to be a problem structurally to add that to it? How are you going to support that?
We'll dig a footer underneath it.
Okay. If you used a face brick, would you have to do that?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters from our perspective.
Yeah,
whether
I mean,
it's-
I would,
if it's non-operational.
yeah.
Okay.
There's no need to dig a footer and do all that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Do we want to make face brick a condition to approval? I think we should, if that's what we want.
I'm just thinking back to my earlier comment about a lot of conditions and
Yep.
me personally being inconsistent with the way that I expressed that opinion, because that would make 7 conditions on a single property. Although some of these are more general about like following zoning and not specific to the design of this site. So I think that is a difference there.
Like, is it necessary to put it in there as a condition?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
But if we're finished discussing, would you like a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve based on staff recommendation and add the 7th condition, which is that the chimney will be made of face brick or clad in face brick.
Are you okay with having a requirement to use
Yeah.
the face brick, or would you have the option of
We could
using
have
either?
the option.
Okay, well then I'll add that. Give them the option of using the face brick to clad the chimney.
Okay. We have a motion. Would anyone like to second that?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. It's been moved and properly second that we approve based on staff recommendation plus the added option for the brick. Face brick. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you
appreciate
all.
it.
Thank you for making the replacement building appropriate.
Okay, now we'll move to our fifth area, which is in Market Square. We have a property at 22 Market Square that we're going to listen to the review for.
So this is an exterior rehabilitation project of 3 adjacent facades. You can see the 3 facades in question on the screen, 22, 18, and 16 Market Square. The photograph on top is the existing conditions, and then the proposed exterior work is depicted in the elevation drawing below. So I'll start on the left side and go through the exterior works on the building. So at 22 Market Square, the building is, they will do the masonry repair and tuck pointing. The existing windows will be repaired and painted with repair and painting to the horizontal trim flashing. The existing EFS on the storefront will be repainted. The applicant is proposing an exterior grid to create simulated multi-light windows on the transoms along with a reeded glass film, and then a new canvas awning that extends the full length of the facade and will project 10 feet from the building. At 18 Market Square, so the wider elevation, the wider facade in the center, the application includes masonry repair and tuck pointing, paint to be removed from the precast windowsills. The existing non-historic paired double-hung windows on the second story will be replaced in kind with paired double-hung wood windows. The application includes the installation of a new upper cornice, which is based on details from the lower cornice and historic photography. I may have that on the next slide. Oh, yes. Oh, no, that's the other one. The historic photography is in the application packet. The applicants are also installing a new flat aluminum canopy, which will extend the full length of the facade and project 10 feet from the building. And then some additional trim on the flat storefront detailing. They will also include the exterior grid to create the multi-light windows and a reeded glass film. At 18 Market Square, the application also includes a new rooftop or an extension of an existing roof addition. That will include a new elevator shaft within the existing footprint and a new bathroom addition. They will also install a new flat roof canopy with a wood look material and a new retractable shading canopy. So you can see that open there, and then I believe on the next slide there's an image showing the shade as it is open and then the shade as it is closed to provide some covering there on the roof. The third storefront is 16 Market Square, and at this one, the applicant's proposing, again, the repair scope similar to the other ones, masonry repair and tuck pointing, replacement of the non-historic secondary or second-story windows with new aluminum-clad windows that match the historic photograph, and then the exterior grid on the transom windows, and the installation of a new canvas awning, along with some other minor exterior scopes like an installation of a new precast concrete water table at the base of those brick piers. Some of the relevant findings, all 3 of these storefronts have modified non-original storefront systems and various exterior changes. At 22 Market Square, the exterior rehab scopes are generally all basic repair that meet the guidelines. At 18 Market Square, they're largely repair that meet the guidelines, including the reconstruction of an upper cornice to reflect historic photographs. That is specifically called out in the design guidelines. They'll also install some trim to that sort of flat green wrap on the ground level piers. At 16 Market Square, the rehab scopes also will restore original elements based on historic photographs with the installation of cornices and replacement of windows. The storefront systems, all 3 projects have a reeded glass film and a simulated divided light grid for the transom windows. This is appropriate within the guidelines as it retains the existing transom openings and transparency. The guidelines say that transom windows can be clear, tinted, or stained glass. The reeded film does fit within this. Overall, the storefront system are not original to the buildings. Canvas awnings are proposed for 22 and 16 Market Square. The placement is appropriate. Guidelines speak to awnings that project 4 to 7 feet from the building. These will be 10 feet. Larger awnings have been approved by the HCC on a case-by-case basis. These are compatible in scale with adjacent awnings, and they don't detract from the overall character of the building. The canopy in the middle storefront, the design guidelines don't specifically address these. They make recommendations for awnings based on placement and design, so the placement of this is appropriate. Flat metal canopies have been approved in Market Square on a case-by-case basis, as long as they are proportionate to the storefront, don't alter historic materials, and could be removed. This one does meet those standards. To speak to the roof work at 18 Market Square, it expands an existing addition. They're typically evaluated by visibility from the street in this district. The bathroom space that extends from the left side will not be visible from the ground level in Market Square. It's small in scale compared to the existing addition that's up there. The wood look support with a retractable sunshade projects towards the building's facade. It's set approximately 2 to 3 feet back from the facade. When closed, the sunshade will be visible from the ground level. There are other permanent sunshades visible in Market Square. Some of those were installed without permits or HCC review. The sunshade and the support could be removed without effect on the historic building. It will be minimally visible when it is open. The HCC should discuss that overall visibility of that support structure and sunshade. The staff recommendation is to approve 12J 25HZ subject to the conditions that all masonry repair and repointing meet specs of the National Park Service, and then the final window replacements be submitted to staff for approval.
Thank you, Lindsay. Is the applicant present, and would you like to make comments on what's been presented?
Jimmy Ryan, 310 Oak Park Drive. I'm the architect on the project. I don't know that I have any other comments that Lindsay hasn't addressed and that weren't in the application. The only clarification to make is just that any of the replaced windows, they would be aluminum clad historic profiles.
Okay. Commissioners, did you have any questions for the applicant? Because we don't have it in the neighborhood.
I don't have a question, but sorry, turned it off instead of on. I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I appreciate the return of cornices and other details like that that have disappeared from a lot of buildings around Knoxville. So I appreciate that.
What's in those spaces currently?
On the far left, it is Earth to Old City. In the center, it's Allison Appalachia. Allison Appalachia will be moving out in January. Their lease ends at the end of December. And there's another concept going in that space that goes into the basement. And then on the far right is Amelia. And then the second level is all residential.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to echo what the commissioner said, that I really appreciate the detailed architectural details that you're bringing back to the place.
Thank you.
We would like to make a motion.
Sure, sure. Based on other submittals for rooftop, this is really not scruffy enough, but it's very nice. I'll make a motion to approve based on staff recommendation. Well, hold on. I have a question. On number one, the masonry repair meeting NPS specifications, how is that, how do we monitor that? Is it in the drawings that are submitted for permit?
So typically the expectation there is just that the applicant will meet that. They will use mortar in the tuck pointing that is appropriate for the brick on which it's being applied. We don't typically go back and verify that necessarily unless there's a condition added to it, but we sort of just trust that the applicant will do that for the good of the building itself.
Yeah. And I believe the applicant will do that. All right, I'll make the motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being patient with tons of cases and discussion today.
So now we have other business. We're going to look at the Dr. C.B. Jones House for eligibility for the National Historic Registry.
Right. Today, we will be reviewing the nomination of the Dr. C.B. Jones House at 631 Scenic Drive to the National Register of Historic Places for its architectural significance. The C.B. Jones House was built in 1925, and it was designed by Bauman & Bauman, an influential local architecture firm. The 2.5-story house employs an eclectic mix of popular early 20th century architectural styles. The house was built for Dr. Charles Bonham Jones, a pioneering eye, ear, nose, and throat specialist who began practicing medicine in Knoxville in 1910. Dr. Jones was instrumental in choosing the location for the Fort Sanders Hospital, and he was one of the first staff members. Throughout his career, he was the chief of staff and president of the board for the hospital, and he was a member and founder of several medical societies. Dr. Jones lived in the house with his wife until his death in 1955. Dr. Jones purchased the Scenic Drive property in 1924 from local developers who spearheaded exclusive residential development in the Sequoia Hills neighborhood. Sequoia Hills began developing in the 1920s and is situated near Kingston Pike, which was a well-established roadway historically associated with the residents of the city's wealthiest citizens. The high-end neighborhood was one of Knoxville's early auto-oriented suburbs in the post-World War I period, featured curving roads, landscape medians, and houses on large lots. Local newspapers touted the success of the neighborhood and reported on new construction, including the C.B. Jones House, which was called an example of, quote, the high type of modern dwelling that are being erected day by day as the city grows and becomes more prosperous. Bauman & Bauman's architecture was prolific in the neighborhood, and they designed several nearby houses that are eligible for or were listed on the National Register of Historic Places, such as Westwood, listed in 1984, and the Benjamin Morton House, which features a similar facade to the C.B. Jones House and was listed in 2004. The original architectural plans for the house were sourced from the McClung Collection. The C.B. Jones House demonstrates a high level of integrity, retaining most of its character-defining features on the exterior and many on the interior. The original rear service porch and rear chimney have been removed, and the rear wing was extended around 1999. These alterations generally complement the architecture and materials of the original structure. The predominant architectural styles, the facade, are Colonial Revival and Georgian due to the overall symmetry and the incorporation of classical elements. However, elements from the Tudor Revival and Craftsman styles were added to create an eclectic mix, which was popular during the period. Examples include arched interior entries and doors, a barrel vault ceiling for the sunroom, rustic bricks surrounding the multi-light casement sashes, hand-textured plaster walls and ceilings, ceiling timbers, wood panel French doors, and wood wainscoting. The house is notable for incorporating slightly unusual materials and details into a relatively commonplace colonial revival form, including the rustic bricks used for its walls, the brickwork patterning above the facade's first-story windows, rather than the more typical use of keystones or jack arches, and the delicate Beaux-Arts style frieze below the roofline. In general, other colonial revival residents in Sequoia Hills present a more restrained use of decoration and materials on their facades. In the opinion of staff, the C.B. Jones House is eligible for the National Register for its significance under Criterion C for architecture, with a period of significance being 1925, the year of construction.
Okay, where do we go from here?
We need a motion in a second to approve that.
So we're going to need a motion in a second. Do you all have any questions about anything? Okay.
So I would like to approve the recommendation of staff for the National Registry.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we approve the nomination for this home into the National Registry. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. And I think, are we going to end before we do nominations, or we'll do them on the record? Okay, so we have one more thing. We need to vote on the nominations that were presented last month for new officers for the 2026 year. So,
I can do that.
okay,
Take us through.
okay.
So at the meeting last month, we had a nomination for Commissioner Travis Tillman to be the chair of the HCC for 2026. He is not able to join us today, but he did assure us that he is okay with us nominating him in his absence. And so are there any other nominations for chair for 2026? Okay, hearing none, could I have a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion to approve Travis Tillman as chair for 2026.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Great. And then at the last meeting, we had a nomination for Hallie Hearns to be the vice chair of the Historic Zoning Commission for 2026. Do I hear any other nominations? All right, hearing none. Oh, sure.
Is the vice chair, I know the chair's not allowed to make a motion. Is the vice chair allowed to make a motion? All right.
I know.
And allowed to second what they want.
Yeah. Okay, could I hear a motion and a second?
I move that we place Commissioner Hearns as the vice chair.
And
of
I
the
second.
commission.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great.
Okay, the monthly meeting for December 18th for the Historic Zoning Commission is now closed.